Hey everyone, Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler, was actually authenticating some Rolex watches today that came in, and I thought, why don't I make a video on some of the reasons or some of the ways that I determine whether or not a Rolex is legitimate just right off the bat. There's a few items that I look out for every time, and if a lot of the things check out as far as it being authentic, I definitely highly suggest taking it to a professional watchmaker. But usually with these steps we can tell whether or not it's not legit and whether or not just to stop with the whole process of authenticating. Real quick, you can definitely go and check out a watch kind of repair kit on Amazon. A link is going to be below. It has this kind of I don't even know what the proper terminology of it is, but it opens up the backs of watches, and we're going to get into that in just a second. So right off the bat, the first thing I usually do is the touch and feel method. As we see, this is kind of like it's supposed to be like a vintage Rolex watch here, but just the chain and just, you know, the strap and just everything seems off about it. As you can see, also it has some wear, and usually a Rolex is going to be high quality, and we'll talk about more about the quality when we talk about this one. Let's talk about this one real quick. Usually the steel is not going to have any kind of scratches in it whatsoever. Rolex's high quality usually have high quality. When I looked at this, I thought this was actually a legitimate one right off the bat. Also, you'll notice the little date magnifier will actually be 2 times. Now that's kind of an easier one to look at once you start dealing with Rolexes from time to time. That's the thing you should probably look at first. Is it's supposed to magnify it about 2 times, and you can tell when you see a fake and a real one together, the magnifying portion of that. But they've got really good at, you know, making those look legitimate. And like I said, this one actually I thought was legitimate. But we're actually going to open up the backs of these to show you what they also look like in the back real quick. But real quick also, the logo inside there is a metal logo. And if we look at it, you can see this one looks really kind of messed up, and you can't really see it well. Usually those things are going to be perfect. The little metal logo that's in there is going to be absolutely perfect. When you open up the back of this, and this is where this little knife comes in handy, usually older watches will have a little bit of a notch in there somewhere, and those will help you determine where the thing is. Where is this? And they basically just kind of pop open like this. Now, as you can see here, this is supposed to be a vintage watch, but look, it's got a battery inside it. All the hallmarks are kind of off. There's not even, just with the battery alone, as we can see here, all the things are just off about this. It doesn't have anything that says it has anything to do with Rolex. It's got a Japan mark on there. The case even itself says Hong Kong stamped right there, and so you can tell right away just by opening up the back of this thing it's not legit. We knew it wasn't legit just by holding it and touching it and feeling it. And just like what you do with jewelry when you use a magnet to see if it's gold or not, it's the same thing when you feel or touch a Rolex, whether or not it's cheap. And even this one, even though this looks really amazing, it still sounds like really cheap, kind of, I can't even describe it. So this one, which when I first saw it, it looked really good. These also have the screw backs. So what you can do is, if you don't have the special tool that you need to do this, you can take a rubber ball, press it on the back, and this thing will slide right open. This looks actually really amazing from the back. As you can see, it does have the ruby jewels. When you see information on watches that says like 21 jewels, 17 jewels, that usually represents the jewel bearings. Now those are actually used to help stop friction in a watch. So when you see those, some of them are actually kind of cosmetic, but for the most part, when you see like 21 jewels, and there's a nice example of another little one in there. Let's see if we can actually get a good look at that. That's what that means. It's basically stops friction in the watch. Some of them, you know, some of them might be cosmetic, as we can see in there. Those look like kind of purple jewels. I was going to say they were rubies, but they're kind of purple jewels. As we can see also in the back here, there's no Rolex stamps. It doesn't say anything with barcodes, serial numbers, or anything like that. And so that's also a dead giveaway. That, you know, we had to pop this one open just to check it. This looks really nice as far as a fake, but like I said, a real Rolex is going to have usually serial numbers, some kind of stamping. Even this looks amazing in the back. Even this kind of looks a little cheap and everything. So that's how I usually determine right away. Now, if everything kind of checks out, that's when I'll take it to a watch person. Also, if you guys want to know about these Rolex watches, they have, I'm not exactly sure what these are called, but you don't pop them out to set the thing. You actually have to unscrew it a little bit until it pops out. There's a little, it's spring loaded in there. So you got to kind of keep twisting it. And eventually you can pull it back, and that is how you set the hour and the minute. And then if you push it in a little bit, let's see if I can do it. It's really tricky. You can set the date the same way by pushing it in, and then by winding it, it's the same kind of thing. You pop it in a little bit and you can actually feel it winding. One little thing that I didn't touch on about most authentic Rolexes is, even though this thing doesn't want to move, I think the movement's all messed up, seconds aren't going to tick. Usually Rolexes will sweep across. They don't go tick, 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 tick to the second. They usually will just sweep in just one fluid movement. So that's another reason, or another way to tell right off the bat. This thing actually looked great when I first saw it. I was like, oh, that looks actually a legitimate one, till, you know, you do the touch and feel, you look in the back, you look at the magnifying thing, and even this looks off. So hopefully this helps someone out there with definitely how to determine whether or not a watch is fake, like right off the bat. Some of them that are made nowadays are really, really well made, so just be very careful. Always take your watches to a reputable watch dealer to authenticate it. And like I said, definitely go and check out the Amazon watch repair kit in the link below, and we'll see you next time. Definitely click the like and follow, and we'll see you next time. Take care.